Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 437 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Christian Piles, and so sorry about yesterday. It was not our choice. We never want to miss FRL, especially given the weekend that we just had in wrestling. But it was a mandatory company off-site meeting, and we had to go. But we promise that we will make up for it, or at least try to. All we can promise is effort at this point. We may not always get the points, but we're going to give you the hustle. We're going to run back to center. We're always going to beat the guy back to the middle of the line. And maybe Anthony Artelona is going to make us wait forever.
That was awesome. that was hilarious.
That was really funny.
If you guys missed it, check out Anthony Artelona's tweet. He said wrestler runs back to the middle, and then every Florida wrestler. And Bo Piper is lined up, ready to go for like 30 seconds. And Artelona is just, it's like a Sunday stroll back to the middle.
He was like, probably like, watched him run back to center. He's like, I'm going to mess with him a little bit.
Yeah.
And walked extra slow back to center.
It's a smart move. You see guys like tie their shoe or try to pull their sock up, and it's too obvious. He was walking the whole time just very slowly.
Yeah, that's an underutilized tactic. Artelona wasn't stalling. But when you think about guys, I saw some really slow walks back to center. As long as you keep moving, I really don't feel like they can call you for stalling. Because what, are we talking about speed now? Can the official actually hit you for stalling for your rate of speed headed back?
I loved all the Florida kids jumping in, like Nordstrom and Ramirez and Mike Casoy. They're like, yep, this is right.
Nailed it.
A very Florida thing. So, it's tough to know where to start, but it's Cliff Keen, Las Vegas, I believe, is where we will start. Where, as expected, pandemonium, over 100 ranked wrestlers. You know crazy things are going to happen, and crazy things did happen. I don't know what the craziest thing was. People ask, what was the big thing, or what was the most impressive thing? For me, Pletcher body bagged 141.
Yeah.
Like, and now I'm like, all right, and am I entering the Nomad zone here? Where Nomad said, nope, no one's beating this guy. But Nick Lee lives and walks among us, and for that reason, I'm not ready to enter the Nomad zone. But there is no question about it. He has been far and away the best guy at 141 this year. He is destroying really good wrestlers. Like the McKee match, not close. Majored Chad Red. 13 takedowns against Matten, which against any D1 wrestler is like impressive.
I mean, I don't know if he still is after this weekend, but Cole Matten was ranked top 20 going into the weekend. Yep, still is 16th. So.
16th ranked guy. 13 takedowns for the tech fall. 26-11.
Majored Mitch Moore, beat Real Woods, beat Dom Demas, beat Dylan Duncan, beat Dresden Simon. His list, he probably has the most ranked wins on the season so far.
Yeah.
What shocked me is the amount of like anti-Pletcher that I see.
Yeah.
I think
at
it's
least
going
in
away.
my timeline. First of all, he's just a really nice kid. He's
cool.
So he's not even like a heel. Number two, y'all don't accept that he's scoring points.
Y'all don't want to see him winning. But have we ever seen a guy go from, man, if he'd open up more, or man, wish he doesn't have to win this close, to, okay, fine, fifth year, he just starts destroying.
We've seen it high school to college,
Well, yeah.
right? But not this late in a college career. At this level.
I mean,
maybe like a guy makes a jump from
maybe it's
unranked
happened,
to,
but-
All-American.
Somebody that I saw people bringing up that maybe made a transition, not quite this drastic, but sort of similar, was Joey McKenna, who used to, it felt like, win really, really close matches. And then he kind of widened the gap. But even still, he would have really close matches quite often after he had upped his offensive output. So maybe to a lesser degree, McKenna. But, yeah, I don't think anybody quite to this level.
So my whole thing with the Lee Pletcher thing was like just the mental steps and why I was like, Nick Lee's going to win this weight. And it still may be true. I'm like, Nick Lee beat Joey McKenna. And I don't think Luke Pletcher would ever beat Joey McKenna. But now I'm watching, I'm like, I don't know if I ever saw Joey McKenna look this good in college. Honestly, I don't know if I have. He's got some amazing wins. He beat a lot of good guys, but
That Big Ten tournament run his junior year
No
where
one
he
scored.
didn't give up a point was really impressive.
Yeah, okay, so that was a good thing. All right, see, I'm back. It's Nick Lee.
He did that.
So for me, and this weight was crazy beyond just Pletcher just running through it. McKee beats Demas in a match where McKee put his top game on full display. He gave up the first takedown, did not matter. Got the ride, got the turn.
Mitch McKee on top at CKLV was so tremendously impressive. He rode Ian Parker for 5 minutes.
That's a long time. Parker beat Chad Red. Red beat Wilson. Demas teched Parker. Wilson lost to Michael Blockus of UNI. And which, my Tuesday headline was Tariq Wilson #1.
Mm-hmm. Was it right? Was you correct? Hold
I
on.
don't.
Oh, nope. Never mind.
Actually, it's not. It's like
only 12 off.
It's not a goodbye. It's a see you later. I think it's a prophecy that you have those preachers who think they're predicting the end times, and they miss it. Like the 2012 thing. But at some point,
They're
the
going
end
to
times
be right. Yeah.
they're going to be right? So eventually, the Tariq thing. No, but what my point with Tariq is this: is he entering a zone of he was just kind of the NCAA Tariq Wilson, Cleveland Magic, the hottest guy in the room, just like on fire. But he hasn't really recaptured that magic yet.
I just don't think he's the same guy up at 141. You look at his results from before CKLV, and they weren't. I was underwhelmed by
I was
them.
just whelmed.
So
Wasn't under,
over. I think he's just a very, very, very good 141, but not necessarily right now looks like a national title threat.
He could be one of those guys, though. Pat Pop gets him. Gets him firing late, and who knows? I still really believe in his talent. The Red Wilson match was electric. It wasn't long. It was a really cool I've never seen anyone, and it's probably happened many times, but I've never seen anyone lock up a near side cradle, and the arm was in the wrong place, and Chad Red literally just lets go and grips around it and rolls him through. It was pretty freaking impressive.
Is there anyone that's more fun to watch celebrate than Chad Red too? Because it's just it's pure joy.
Yes.
He's
Also,
so happy and excited and fired up. It's just a lot of fun.
It's also a little angry too. It's it's got this just primal energy. I love it.
You know who had a comparable celebration this weekend? Also a Nebraska guy was Mikey Labriola when he beat Skaska for third.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Man, and I think that whole team, they were in each other's corners throughout the weekend, and whenever there was a big win, that whole team was right there, super jacked up, and the Huskers were really they were the celebrating team, I think, this weekend.
And Mark Manning talked about that with me afterwards in an interview. He's every team is different, right? But this year the guys seem a little bit closer, a little more in each other's corner, a little more bought in, a little more in support of each other than maybe they've been in previous years. And obviously not to say that the Huskers were some discombobulated team in the past, just this year there's a little something extra that Coach Manning and Coach Snyder are noticing.
I want to get to the Huskers at some point, but really want to talk about 157, where Ryan Deacon ran through #1 and #2.
Freaking Deacon.
In a way, I mean, I don't know if we've seen, short of the Nolf match, I can't remember seeing Hidley really lose a match like this in college. And, for him to beat, he was just all over Carr. He was all over his offense is so good, his single leg, but his reattacks are just incredible. And, a year ago, I know the field wasn't as good when he won CKLV, but we were like, oh my gosh, this guy can go with Nolf. This guy's on another level. And then now he's clearly at an insanely high level right now. The question for me is it going to be sustained throughout the season? Because he had great Vegas. He won Midlands. He beat Caleb Young easily there. And then, by the time Big Ten's NCAAs goes around, he lost to Pantelio a few times and had another strange loss, maybe to Blythe. And then it is 6 at NCAAs. So I'm not sure there's a more impressive / confusing guy than Deacon. But right now, all I can say is this is the clear best 157 right now in America. And I was thoroughly impressed. Something just fell from the ceiling. Everything's fine.
Don't worry about it.
It wasn't big.
It's time to start asking if Vegas is Deacon City.
Wow.
10-0 past 2 years there.
Also, are we
Plus U.S. Open.
He beat James Green there.
Yep. Yes, he did.
He was in a bracket with Jason Dolph and James Green.
And he won the Junior Open there,
Yes.
beating Yanni.
Holy
Oh my
crap.
gosh.
Never bet against Ryan Deacon in Vegas.
Wow.
Never again.
We just connected the dots.
We connected some serious dots there. Ryan Deacon is the mayor of Las Vegas.
Yep.
He literally didn't even have to. He didn't even have to run for office. It wasn't even a democratic process. He just took it by going there and winning so impressively. Now, so are you guys saying Deacon next topic here for this weight?
No.
I'm not either.
No, it's too.
But how are you? So how are you so sure with Pletcher? And Deacon,
I'm not so sure with Pletcher. I just believe it the most.
Okay.
I think 41 is still pretty open, but I'm putting my chips before Pletcher before anybody else. I don't think it's next topic.
Okay.
Only next topic weight for me right now is 84 and 25.
Now even Colin Moore. Moore's next topic for me.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his?
Yeah, because Warner's number 2.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
no,
sure he
you're right.
annihilated Brucky. Him and Warner have never wrestled though.
Yes, they have. In both folk style and freestyle.
Oh, I suck.
How'd Joe Burrow get out of state?
How'd Joe Burrow get out of state? I don't remember those matches at all. I mean, Colin obviously won the
Correct.
folk style ones. So
And the freestyle ones.
okay, next topic for me. So that's 57. Any further Deacon thoughts?
He's not far off next topic for me after that performance. I know he had a great run in Vegas last year, but he had Griffin Perriott in the finals, who I think feels like a different kind of level of opponent than compared to David Carr and Hayden Hidley. So for him to look just so good against those guys and not only win, but to win in that way where there was really no question, he seems like he's jumped levels. I know the big question mark with him has always been Caleb Young, or at least last year was. So I want to see that, but before I'm like certain that he's going to win. But I feel pretty close to saying next topic.
Caleb Young lost to Quincy Monday this week.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a pretty competitive match last year at the duel.
Yes.
I don't know if Monday got the first 2 takedowns, but he definitely got the first takedown. And you're like, whoa. And then Young just kind of wore him down. But then Monday got it done.
And that was, you see true freshman wrestling Carver Hawkeye versus you get another year on you. You've wrestled the guy before. You wrestled in your own home gym. So good progression for Quincy.
Yep. Speaking of good progressions, Brayton Lee wins Vegas at 49. Another win over Sammy Sasso, who is maybe going by Sam now. We need to get confirmation, but that's what he was registered as.
Okay.
But he's Sammy to me.
Yeah.
Sammy.
Unless he tells me, and then I'll listen to him because it's his life, his name. Yaya Thomas once again does everything but beat Max Thompson. He goes on to have a nice backside run.
There was a stall call in that match, right?
Yes.
Well, yeah, Yaya got 2 takedowns. Though that was his only points. And then Thompson got escape, stall, and riding time. Escape, stalls, and riding time
Man,
to get to 5.
it's one way to do it.
Yeah.
So
He rode him out in the 3rd.
Yaya looks
Yeah.
outstanding, getting 3rd. Griffin Perriott had a really nice tournament after he got pinned by Sasso, but then he goes on a run here, beating Puritan and Thompson back to back before getting majored or almost majored by Thomas, losing 10-3 there. So he did great.
How about the top 4 guys at CKLV? Red shirt, coming up in weight, coming down in weight.
Yeah.
None of these guys were in the 49 spectrum last year.
Yeah. I
Thought
don't know
was
what that
interesting.
means, but it definitely happened. But yeah, Brayton Lee, and I don't know if 49 is more crystallized now or less,
Dude.
or less so. I feel probably less so.
Yeah, like the note in the doc says, Lee clearly a title contender. I feel like it's like, yes, as are, 9 or 10 guys. I mean, this weight feels like anything could happen on a given weekend. I know we didn't get to see, Jared Deacon didn't wrestle the whole tournament after he got hurt, so we didn't get to see him kind of really test himself at the field in the same way that maybe we could have. And it really feels like this weight has 10 guys that are so close that could all rise at NCAAs. And I think that makes this a really fun weight, but one that I would be probably last to try to project.
Yeah. Deacon does forfeit out, but he does get a classic win over Colin Puritan. You have to watch this match. It was so fun. It was so Deacon. Down 4-1, comes back, riding time. It's a whole thing. He had an extra second of riding time that had him win it in regulation. He gave up what did he give up? A reversal. He cut him and got taken down all within the last, maybe 15 seconds of the match.
Yeah, I thought, watching it live on the stream, I thought he lost.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
And then he ended up winning in regulation.
With Brayton, I was impressed with Brayton winning this for a couple reasons. Number one, because he's a freshman, even though I thought Sasso was going to win. But number two, he's just always been, to me, a little better at freestyle because of where he's at top-bottom. But he didn't let it be an issue.
Took neutral against Thompson.
Got the takedown with 30 seconds left, which you say, okay, you're kind of playing fire there. But that's Brayton's MO. He can win matches late.
Yeah, but he was also really close to scoring. There were a couple times where I thought he was going to score in that third period and didn't. And Thompson had to shoot, and that goes right into where Brayton is so good defensively.
Same situation against Sasso. Got the first two takedowns, took neutral in the third, and then got taken down with 24 seconds left to make it a little closer than it was.
He looked like a powerhouse, too. I thought he really moved Sammy around in a way you're not really used to seeing. I thought he looked...
He can stand in there and bang with those guys.
Yes.
And that's what Brayton's really good at.
Yeah, and, I think this is a good example of, when we have our debate about auto bottom. You circle a couple matches during the year where you go, we have to win this match. Number one, to show our guy we can win. Number two, for seeding purposes. These were those matches, right? CKLV semis and finals. You take neutral, and then you can take, bottom in a whole bunch of duels for the rest of the year. But get it done now. Get those wins. So come Big Tens and come, rankings time, you're high up, and take care of business, which is what he did.
Is Buluong kind of like the wild card here at this weight, just because he beat Brayton, and we just haven't seen him against a loaded field.
Yeah.
Or anyone, and looking at their upcoming schedule, they have Scuffle. He'll see Thompson
and Deacon.
He was wild card going in too.
Mahler.
Yeah.
So he'll hit some of the good guys and
Lugo to end the year. So he'll hit some of these better guys, so we'll get a better feel of where he's at too.
I know that transitive property is always a dangerous game, but he beat Brayton Lee 8-3. He controlled that match, looked really good.
Yeah.
He does feel like a big X factor here.
Well, that was one where Brayton got burned from taking bottom.
Did he get turned up a bunch? Okay. Very, very revealing. Now, kind of backtracking a little bit. We didn't really talk about 25 much. It was kind of Mueller's show. We kind of knew that. But so that aside, he looked excellent. He is excellent. But the story for me is Devin Schroeder and Michael DiAgostino. Schroeder, I feel like we've been looking for that next kind of wave or that next guy that's going to get into the podium. I feel like it may be Schroeder, right?
He's clearly jumped levels from last year. He was always, I think, last year in the 17-20 ranked range. But this year has jumped levels, and saw him take down Jack Miller, saw him give him problems on top. He's good.
He was in that match.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not an easy task. I did an article kind of the biggest threats to the top two ranked guys going in. And Mueller in his last 23 matches had won 18 by bonus points.
Yeah, he just kills dudes.
It's pretty insane the run he went on there last year after getting his red shirt pulled. So for Schroeder to push him is really impressive.
He's really good. He's got really reliable leg attacks. He gets to legs against good guys. He got to in on Mueller repeatedly. And he's really good on top. He gets the wrist. He can tilt you up. That's how he beat Mackel. It was one shot where he got the takedown, transitioned right into the turn, And that was a ball game against Mackel, who we all think is pretty good. He beat Joey Prada, who's having a nice year.
Mm-hmm.
And for Northwestern, I didn't know that Michael D'Agostino was this good. And I don't know how great he is, right? But he's clearly going to qualify. He's going to be a guy that wins matches at NCAAs. He's going to be a guy. He's good in a lot of different positions. And, I think he's a guy that could be in the top 12, potential All-American this year.
Absolutely. And Sebastian Rivera actually DM'd Flo on November 19th and said rank him.
Yeah.
He had Sebastian 25. He's like, rank him.
Yeah.
Because he just beaten somebody.
Well, look at his results this
He
year.
beat Schwarm a couple times now. I think he beat Schwarm in a duel, and then he beat him again this weekend. So I think that was the win he had back in November.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's beaten Schwarm twice now. He avenged the loss to Prada. You mentioned the Mueller win. He's beaten Medley, who's looked good this year. He's beaten Braden Courtney. So, there are clearly justifiable results that this guy can navigate himself, at least some level, pretty far into NCAAs.
I know it doesn't mean anything because it's like common opponent thing that Bray was just talking about. He lost by less to Jack Mueller than Sebastian Rivera did.
Yeah.
I know. 3-0. Pretty impressive. So, which him at 25, which should mean Sebastian at 33, potentially see Sebastian at 33 at Midlands. And where are we seeing Sebastian? I know we're bouncing around, but that's just the nature of the show. Where do you guys feel Sebastian fits at 33? To me, he's a guy that can win a title. I don't know if he's a favorite over a DeSanto or a Gross, but he's in there in that RBY tier, right?
He feels like he's very. I think about him very similar at 33 that I would at 25. Like at 25, obviously Spencer Lee is the big threat. Jack Mueller's beat him, so he kind of feels like a guy who's third who definitely could beat those guys in front of him. At 33, feels very similar with Gross, and then the way as good as DeSanto's looked, he kind of feels like he maybe slots in around 3 with definitely the potential to win those matches. So to me, he's really similar either way.
Do we worry about the size at all? Because he did look tiny against Stevan Micic last year.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And he's wrestled a few guys. He beat Cam Sikora 7-3 earlier this year.
Cam's good.
Now, he weighed in at 25 for that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Against
And
Micic.
against
Against
Micic,
Micic,
too, right. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about
Okay,
against
yeah.
Micic.
Right. So maybe he's gotten bigger, too. But he also, didn't he just wrestle 57?
Yeah.
He did.
kilos?
So how big can he really
Right.
be? Maybe there's a difference, there is a difference if you have to weigh in at 25.0 and bump up versus get a little bigger. And, he just had to touch down a 25 for one day at one point in time.
And probably against not the deepest field, I would imagine.
No, probably not. But, looking at the 33-pound field, Mickey Philippi would really worry me.
Yeah.
Big, really good on top.
Super long, big guy. Seth Gross, same thing. But
He's so good from
RBY and
neutral.
DeSanto, I think is much more favorable matchups where he can try to play the takedown game.
He got out from Spencer multiple times.
He did,
Sort, yeah.
and then but in the Big Ten finals match, he struggled to get off bottom.
That's a good point.
And
Yeah.
the Mueller match was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, he struggled. He has struggled underneath. I don't know. To me, I think he's obviously a title contender. I don't know how you say that the DeSanto matchup is maybe a more favorable, and it might be. He may be so slick, but I also feel like he could just get physically overwhelmed a little there with. And that's the ultimate thing with DeSanto. It's is he going to melt you, or can you stand in there and endure? And sometimes it's match to match with DeSanto or his opponents that he faces because he'll smash a guy and then the guys will be able to recover.
Speaking of 25, I think Wisconsin pulled Eric Barnett this weekend.
Yeah.
I thought that would happen at some point. They're going for it. I'm not sure where Barnett fits at this point yet.
He his 10-1 on the year. He lost to Chris Cannon. He's at Northwestern redshirting. And probably his best win is Trey Keeley, who he did major. But we'll see. He's going to have the Big Ten schedule coming up in Midlands.
I was a little surprised just because Michael Cullen hasn't really Michael Cotton certainly hasn't been doing terrible at all. He's 4-3. He's beaten, Shalfu, who's solid. But I guess upside-wise, pushing for that trophy. Got to put the best 10 out there.
Yeah.
There's only 1 year of Seth Gross.
Yeah.
You don't want any what could we have gotten 5 more points out of this weight class? And it might be the best thing for Barnett too.
Yeah.
If they feel he's ready, the best thing for his development could be to just be in the lineup week in and week out.
The next question for them is Christensen at 97, which I thought was more likely than Barnett from Jump Street, but it still hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if they pull the trigger on Christensen.
And then if Sebastian can stay healthy. I know we're getting off CKLV for a second.
No, we go where
that's,
we please.
That's important for them too, is keeping Johnny Wrestling healthy.
33, Tucker over Bridges. Bridges took out Lovett. Tucker took out Dylan Kuntz in the semis, kind of a surprise semifinalist. But
Shout out Dylan Kuntz.
shout out Dylan Kuntz. He always talks about how they make him just wrestle in the corner, but I feel like they let him wrestle on the regular mats now, and it's paying off.
Get out there in those center mats, young fella.
Yeah, do what you feel.
When Kuntz had a match in the first round against Josh Kramer, who we were all really high on. He had a weekend at Journeyman where he beat 4 ranked guys, and we were like, oh, Kramer's coming. He looked really good against RBY, even in a loss. And then Kuntz knocked him off, and it was bizarre. But Kuntz not only beat Kramer, but he also beat Trombley in the quarters. So, really nice result for Kuntz. It was surprising.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything long-term to make
Still
of
think
that.
Kinner's the guy.
Yeah,
Yes.
I do.
Yes.
I don't have any reason to think.
Yeah.
Can he make the weight consistently?
Well, have you heard that that's an issue?
Well, I assumed that's why he was not here
Yeah, I do not know.
in Vegas.
I should probably try to find out.
True freshman did well, though. Like you said, Lovett getting 3rd, Moshe getting 5th. Todd Small getting 4th is good because who knows when Austin's coming back.
Man, I feel
It's
like
gonna be a while.
We went ahead and pulled the trigger on ranking Todd Small, too, correct?
Yeah.
Todd not small.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see Gomez for a little while, and good for Todd Small, right? That he's getting it done in his opportunity, but obviously stinks for Austin.
65, nothing earth-shattering there. White over Shields. White, it was a very Isaiah White tournament.
Yeah.
He's a hard guy to score on.
Apparently, he said he could have won the match in regulation.
That was goofy.
Just didn't want to.
Yes, Space said that
We've all been there.
in his interview.
Just wanted to get some mat time in.
Yeah, get that mat time.
And then Bullard and Ethan Smith getting 3rd and 4th, which I thought was good progress for them. In addition to D'Agostino getting 3rd, Shane Oster got 6th. So no Rivera, but they made up for it a little bit with 25 and 65.
Also, Shane Oster wrestled 149 last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
But now he's ranked in the top 20 at
Coach
165.
Thornhill's letting those guys eat. Thomas gets to go up. Sebastian's going up. I still am not sure how Ryan Deacon looks like the biggest person.
He let Ryan Deacon go up last year.
A couple years ago. It looks like Ryan Deacon. I feel like if Ryan Deacon went up to 74, he would look like just as big as any of those guys.
I wonder
He's huge.
if the team had a come to Jesus moment like Coach. We're really hungry.
We big,
Okay.
we big as hell.
Yeah.
No, I remember at Big Tens last year, Ryan Deacon the day before was drilling with Andrew Howe and was bigger than Andrew Howe.
He's bigger.
So
100%.
explain anything to me.
There's is there something, David Bray's from Colorado, just like Ryan
maybe
Deacon.
it's an altitude thing.
Is it an altitude affecting bone density affecting his weight?
Yeah, I'm really glad you guys brought that up. I didn't know if you guys were aware of that situation, but your bones are just not quite as dense when you're born above 6,000 feet elevation, or actually above 5,000. So I think that's probably what it is.
So 5,000 is the threshold. So that explains it.
It's 5,000.
So it makes you wonder, why is Colorado a little under recruited with that regard? Do they miscalculate the potential weight classes they can wrestle at?
I think they do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we stumbled upon
Does Northern Colorado and Wyoming have advantages?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
They absolutely do.
Yes.
Should they be subject to NCAA sanctions?
Possibly.
Possibly, for training at altitude. It's not fair.
That's a good point.
Well, speaking of Northern Colorado, Moshe Schwartz, thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
He's a pretty tough cookie. I mean, he was in high school as well. beat
Robbie Howard. His senior year.
So
he had a couple ranked wins this weekend. Schwartz did. He beat Varndell from Edinburgh and Madrigal from Oklahoma, and
almost beat Bridges.
He was really close with Montori. Montori needed a late takedown.
That was a good match.
It was a great match.
Of which there were many at Cliff Keen, Las Vegas. 74. Shout out Dylan Lighty getting it done. Always aggressive. He takes out Labriola and Steyer back to back. That's a heck of a run. He beat Romero. Romero's quietly looked pretty solid this year.
Mm-hmm. So
great job by him. And Purdue is kind of that we've been talking about Purdue for a while now, and this was as close as a coming out party as they've really had, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Schroeder looks great. They pulled Ford Melton. We'll see with him. Better days probably coming for him. Perriot's run to fourth was really good. I mean, you get fourth, but the guys he beat, super impressive. Kendall Coleman, Casey Stampede, he's looked great all year. Of course, I won't even say coming back down to earth, but kind of
his losses were to Hidley and Carr.
Yeah, he lost to at the time.
He performed to his seed.
Number 2 and 3.
Yep.
He performed to his seed. He performed to his ranking.
Yeah.
What I think we do now know, I think he's not going to enter that top tier echelon. He's not a title contender, but he's definitely a guy that can place and potentially place like maybe top 5 if he gets it all together. Lighty wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
He looks really good. Brunner, which is pronounced Brunner, though it's spelled Brunner, so I have a hard time. But Ninehouse, who has probably had a lifetime of having his name mispronounced because there's an N and a J next to each other.
Phonetically spelled Nischenhuis, I guess.
Yeah.
If you botched it.
Ninehouse DM'd me and said it's Brunner, so I guess we have to call him Brunner now.
You have to.
I don't know how you guys didn't know that. Because I have been calling him Brunner this entire time.
Because of phonics, Nomad. There's two N's in a row.
There's rules. There's laws. And, sometimes you don't like refrigerators because of the state they're in.
I've said Brunner like I don't know how you guys never.
Well, that doesn't mean I subscribe to it. Phonetically.
You can't subscribe. You have to subscribe to how they want to pronounce the name.
How do you say every word? I've just always. Were you under the impression I took your pronunciation for every word as like gospel?
No, but I'm saying we knew Brunner's pronunciation a while ago. You chose
the
hate
English
him,
language is what
to
I chose.
hate him and neglect him.
What'd you say, Bray?
I said that was your first mistake, choosing the English language.
Yeah. Bray, didn't you teach something like Englishy?
Yes.
Englishy?
Help me out.
No, that's phonetically it's Brunner, but apparently we're wrong.
We're wrong, and I won't admit it, but I will say Brunner as much as I can possibly remember.
Purdue, half their team placed. Best CKLV performance ever by them. Obviously, best of the Ursuline era.
List the teams they beat.
Iowa State, Minnesota, NC State, Northwestern, Oklahoma, Cornell, Tech, Wyoming, Virginia.
Yeah, really, really good performance.
Ursuline's done a great job since he's been there, and it feels like it's finally all like coming together. Like they're super solid from top to bottom. They're starting to recruit really well, and just
this might be the first year of all his dudes too.
Yeah,
I think.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, fifth year.
Fifth year would be that.
So kind of everybody in there, and then just buy-in, man. Like Lighty was pissed after his interview that he didn't score more bonus points along the way to help the team because they really wanted to do even better in the like they were disappointed with their fifth.
Well,
because of their expectations for themselves going in.
I think he did his job.
He did his job.
I agree, but I'm saying he's got very high expectations for himself this year, and I think it's part of why he's doing so well this year.
But also, he played a very calculated chess match in both his bouts. He really was not ultra offensive. He picked his spot with Labriola and Steyer and beat them both. So that was 74. 84, I mean, talk about a next topic. Zahid Valencia just he like drilled his way to a title here, bonusing his way, beating Hidley, who was kind of a story, beating Lujan 8-4, 3 takedowns. I mean, he looked ultra impressive. I think his power and his explosion like shocks people. Like just that low to high thing. Someone was saying he's like very like basic and fundamental. I think his style is completely unique. It's not. I think there are tenets of like basic head hands that he does have, but like you look at his style, it's incredibly unique.
It's also one that doesn't for Lujan doesn't match up very well because he doesn't, like, all his takedowns, he did not give Lujan a chance to scramble.
Yep.
Like, it was just like, plant you, done, takedown.
And obviously, Hayden known for his underhook as well, but they're very different.
Very different. Hayden will get in there and, like, hang and, like, work from there, whereas, like, Trent will just come, like, low to high and, like, explode through you.
He won't even be touching you, and the next thing you know, you're taken down because he
Yeah,
just blew
it's
through
a-
you with an underhook knee
blast
pick. Or,
underhook.
yeah.
It's, like, totally,
Blast underhook.
it's very rare.
It's all those hoagies.
All those hoagies. So he looked great. This weight was so dang good. Hunter Bolin, shout out. VT, Christiansburg's own. Although I think he's kind of.
Christiansburg Cowboy, right?
I think
That's what
he's
they
a
call him.
I think he's from Floyd County, which is like even more country than Christiansburg.
I think they call him the Christiansburg Cowboy, though.
I need confirmation on the Floyd County.
Bull and Lujan 1 was good. Bray, you had Bull and Lujan 2.
Yeah.
Also excellent, right?
Also good. I mean, so Bolin, yeah, he made adjustments and looked really solid. There were both of those matches, like, there were points in the match where it felt like Lujan was going to win and points where it felt like Bolin was going to win. That's a match I would watch many times over. Like, anytime those guys hit, it's, I never felt like one guy dominated. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Dagan and Lugo, where it feels like they're just continuously wrestling this really long match. Every time they just sort of pick up where they left off.
They're just picking it up.
Yeah, and it's just going to go back and forth forever and ever. But
Look,
but yeah, like
Christiansburg.
Bolin, I mean, yeah, plus every time they wrestle, they score, 15 plus points combined. And so, yeah, that was a good match.
Better days to come for the homie Ben Darmstadt, or as Sion called him, Ben Darmstadt.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites. It sounded like a cough medicine when Sion said it at sushi that night, and he said it twice, and it was just delightful.
Darmstadt.
Darmstadt, Robitussin,
Thermostat.
he beat Colbray, but then got pinned by Vince. He was also pinned by Owen Webster, so not his finest showing. Lujan smashed Vince, or not smashed, 12-9 is not bad. A little closer result for Vince. It looked like 12.
He previously had smashed Venz.
Yes.
This one was much closer.
Yeah, that match was, I called that match too, and like Venz came out to a lead. Like I think he got a takedown, maybe two takedowns, takedown and back something, and then Lujan had to come back. And so kind of the second half of the match, it was all Lujan. So it makes sense why you'd say smashed him, because for part of the match he sort of did, but he had to come from behind.
Man, as far as pecking order at this weight class, I mean, I guess it's really interesting because I was like, Hayden Hidley's going to be a classic guy. He got his high ranking. He had that great weekend, but such a tough tournament. He's probably going to come in and he'll lose a match to a really good guy, and then maybe come back down to earth. And man, he beat Lujan. He made the finals. Of course, Zahid happened, and Zahid just happens, right? But right now he's the number 2 guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, the question, and it's not so much a question specifically about Trent as much as just like a general one that we have for freshmen sometimes, is like, will he hit a freshman wall? Like going into March as opposed to, can he make it through February, can he make it through March? But I don't really see. Now, is he going to go to Scuffle?
Will he be a Scuffalonian?
Yeah.
I will be a Scuffalonian. Show of hands, who's a Scuffalonian in here?
I am.
Just Bray and I.
They have it on their schedule. I know a lot of times they just send like a partial team, but I
Right.
think that's when they don't have it on their schedule. It's on their schedule this year, so I don't know.
We'll find out when he wrestles or doesn't
Right.
wrestle there.
So that could potentially be one. Stefanik just beat Nelson Brand, so that could be a match. And then obviously Bolin on the 14th. So he's looking at potentially having a tremendously good record going into postseason.
Yeah. Like him a lot.
We got a set of brothers, both ranked second in the country.
That's pretty good.
What do we think about that?
Great job by the Hydras.
First time since Stevers?
That they were both ranked number 2 or just ranked this high?
I guess like top 3-ish.
Hunter beat Kelton Russell that one year and won Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both probably ranked pretty high then.
He might not have won Vegas. Or did he beat Mangrum there? I can't remember. Regardless, yeah, they were both. It's been a while for the brothers.
It's been a while.
Wow. A Stained reference. Dare I say the first Stained reference in FRL history.
You're welcome.
Wow. It took 437 episodes. You thought it would have happened earlier. In the between 80 and 120 is when most podcasts drop a Stained reference. But here we made it 437 before we had to.
It's probably a good thing.
It's a good thing. 197, Colin Moore, he looks fantastic. Smashed his way through, although
Tight one with Norfleet.
the Norfleet one was crazy. 5-3, and Norfleet almost had a takedown. He was out of bounds.
Yeah.
But it was really close.
Yeah, right at the end of the match. It was like kind of almost a 50-50 position, and Norfleet came out like sort of more on top, but yeah, out of bounds. It was one of those where Colin Moore controlled the action throughout the match, but just kept it within 2 points. And, the 2 takedowns he had were impressive, and it just felt like, okay, it's definitely all Moore. And then it's like close enough at the end that Norfleet had a chance. And so I don't know.
That's kind of why I'm not ready to say next topic on 97 is because Colin has close matches.
Yeah, he do.
Yeah.
I
had his interview was really good.
Miles Martin was the next topic, if there ever was a next topic.
Yeah. That is one of the biggest upsets of
It really is.
all time.
Yes.
It really is. There's nothing else you can say. That is an unbelievable.
He teched him multiple times earlier in the same season.
Oh, man.
Crazy. But yeah, Colin Moore. So I've now interviewed him 3 times after winning CKLV, which
Guys,
is
friends or what?
Apparently, we're buddies. But like, it was. I don't know. He's always very candid, so it was interesting to hear him talk about number one. I said, look, you're known to have sometimes, inconsistent performances. How do you deal with that? And also, how do you deal with, people, not knowing what's going on, right? Maybe you're banged up. Maybe so you're trying to conserve energy or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I definitely get annoyed with that sometimes. But what I've learned through my years is no one cares. Your opponent doesn't care. Coach, not the coach doesn't care, but your coach doesn't care. The ref doesn't care. You just got to go out and wrestle and make it happen. And that was a good bit of maturity for him. And along that same vein of the maturity thing, he goes, it's interesting this year. Before I had Bo Jordan and Kyle Snyder and all these, Joey McKenna, all these professionals that I didn't have to go to them and go, hey, man, you ready to go? And whereas, for this, I'm trying to be that guy for the freshmen so that they can become professionals and they can pave the way down the line. So that was interesting to hear him talk about kind of getting brought up through that program with all those incredible All-Americans and leaders.
Interesting byproduct of CKLV is that Ohio State goes to 3rd in the individual rankings.
They had a good tournament.
They did have a good tournament. They look good. So that's interesting. I guess what was their big bump?
Nebraska
maybe,
actually.
Should we have Andrew Spencer-Spey hop on?
Timeshare time.
Timeshare
time. Tagging out.
So we're tagging out Bray.
Hey, hit the.
We're bringing in Spey.
Thanks for keeping it warm.
Yeah, ding it real quick. So there's Andrew Spey. Andrew
Hello,
Spencer-Spey.
hi.
Nebraska won, but because it's used
We only had
compiling
one
individual
champ.
rankings, they dropped from 3rd to 5th.
It'd be like that. So what were the big moves for Ohio State that they were able to lose to Nebraska but become the number 3 team in the country?
Yeah, I gotta have to look at all the Ohio
Did
State moves.
Sasso
I did
take
not.
a big jump?
I did not look at that ahead of time.
All right, well then we will move on. It's the worst timeshare ever.
Do
Yeah,
we want
great segment.
while
Good to
we're
see
at-
everybody after a good holiday party.
Let's
by the
skewer
way.
Spey. A great holiday party. Bracky was missed.
Yeah, Bracky,
Yep.
what is this child excuse again? Dad key?
No, Hayden's got a little cold, and I didn't want to leave him at home with Olivia just on her own dealing with that.
Just to go
But
party
to be
with your
fair, you
friends.
would be partying while
Right.
he was at home.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would have made up for it in
Yeah.
Olivia's eyes.
Well, you know what? We watched freaking a bunch of episodes of Real Housewives of insert city here. There was Orange County and Dallas, and the New Jersey one that takes place a lot of times in Paramus.
Oh, shout out Paramus.
But
Bergen Catholic.
those
baby.
people, they just leave their kids all the time and go party, so maybe I should have.
See?
Yeah, you learned a valuable lesson.
Yeah, they are great models for proper parentage. The Real Housewives, because
But
they're real.
I saw
It's authentic.
Nomad saying 69, the summer of 69.
Summer of 69. There were some.
My the cord of my mic fell out midway through, which was great.
That's
because-
probably good for everybody.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
Travis did not know the lyrics,
Well, it's a good
I
thing it's
gotta give
karaoke and they
it's-
have the lyrics for you.
Yeah,
but he still
but he's illiterate.
Yeah.
No,
Hey,
Travis, great reader.
Did he
John
get kicked
Michael
out?
Zach
no.
was supposed to like social one of those. Joe Kenya gave him the hey, social these guys doing their karaoke. He was like, nope, not happening. He sent back quite a negative response that Kenya then.
John Michael Zach was on fire last night. He wasn't even there.
I saw Justin Hale took his shirt off again.
Justin
Hailstorm.
Hale of Behind the Dirt fame. Every year he takes his shirt off, and this year was no different. He had a big gold chain, took that off. He also had he's saying you got to fight for your right to party.
It's also like, it's just kind of like a reminder every year just how jacked he is.
Yeah.
Because like he always wears like,
Kind of bigger clothes.
yeah, like stuff where you really can't tell. He's not like Pat Noonan that wears really tight clothes.
Yeah. Pat Noonan.
The
Very
band
jacked
leader
guy.
called it. It was like there was only a matter of time before that happened. He remembered him from the last years. It's the same karaoke band. The guy's like, yes, the guy that takes his shirt
Yeah,
off.
he said. The guy said, "I knew it was only a matter of time." It was so funny. Like the karaoke band, they do all these shows. The band's like really good, and they're like, "Yeah." I said, he remembers that Justin is the guy
Yeah.
that takes his shirt off
I'm
every
sure
year.
there's a guy at every party they go to that takes his shirt off.
He
Yeah.
used to be Nomad, but he doesn't take his shirt off anymore.
I know.
Just
because,
why?
Because you only get the shock factor so many times.
No,
Because the hailstorm is totally just. you
Also,
don't wanna
yeah,
follow
Justin
that
goes
act.
on first, and then it's like, well,
that
I
makes
can't
it
follow
funnier.
it.
You could be
Can't
the,
do
the
it.
prelude. Okay. 84 we did. 97 Colin Moore we talked about. Mason Paris. Predictably, I think we all thought he would win this weight, and he did. Not really challenged at any point. He's pretty dominant. He had a lot of bonus points. The 6-1 over Christian Lance, and then the 6-3 final over Tanner Hall. Yeah, down to business. He looks good, and he's.
While we're
Oh, yeah.
near these upper weights, you want to talk about Princeton, Iowa, the 97 with Warner beating Brucky?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about 197. So, close match, really tight one, and Warner had to go and get it. He was down one
Yeah.
late. Had to get a single leg, got the finish. Got to be really encouraged if you're an Iowa fan for how good he looked in that match.
Speaking about celebrations, he was fired the F up.
He was excited.
Well, it was, again, that's something that goes back to high school.
Yeah.
Brucky got him when they were freshmen at Midlands. They didn't wrestle last year because Warner was coming off juniors or U23s. I can't remember.
U23s.
Yeah, U23s. And then this year,
And he didn't Midlands.
they didn't.
Last
They
year?
didn't meet.
Oh
think
yeah,
Prince-
he lost to Tanner Sloan.
Yes, that's
Yes,
what it was.
yes.
And he was ranked below him, so he had some stuff to prove.
Yeah, big win. So he jumps up to 2.
It was impressive to see him go and get it because he was trailing pretty much the entire third period and hadn't really come close. And then in that last 20 seconds, he fired off a really good attempt and finished, which isn't easy to do.
No, not against.
And especially, Brucky was coming off a Friday night where he almost majored Dakota Gear.
Yes.
So that was impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. So to discuss that duel, as we knew, no Spencer Lee. He will. They have not said it. I don't believe they've said the words he's wrestling at Fort Worth.
Well,
But I think
No
that's
one
the
has
plan.
said. No one has
Yeah, I
said
guess
them
you're right.
publicly.
Those words, they will not say it. But I do think that is what is
Yeah.
going to happen.
Let's check the registration.
Coach Brands alluded to it. So Spencer there, Cashman in. Glory looks good. Glory also beats Pitch this weekend, 8-4. I have not got to watch that match yet, so I will not be able to talk about it other than knowing that he won in Stillwater.
yeah, I haven't got to watch it yet either, but I did. I know Glory was up, like I think 6-4 in the third period because I heard an interview with Coach Ayers and he was talking about how impressed he was with Glory because he's like he could have just sat on the lead and tried to ride it out and he went and got another takedown.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big part of why we've always loved Pat Glory. We've always thought that he was going to do very well coming in. Obviously, he had an excellent freshman year. And then the whole point of this weekend for me, now obviously Spencer didn't wrestle, so we didn't get to see that, but we did get to see him against Pitch, and he didn't get turned. He is clearly better than Pitch on his feet. In their matches, he's won takedown battle. he's either won or tied the takedown battle every single time. So he knows how to take
crazy,
pitch down, but Pitch is excellent on top, and he was able to get out in that
That is
turn.
crazy because Pitch is excellent on his
so
feet.
good on his
Yeah.
feet. It's weird that anyone in the country is like just decidedly, other than like Spencer, is just like way better than Nick on his feet. I just
Right.
think he's so good from neutral. But
He
like,
is.
it's just like I'm not gonna say it's just a matchup thing because Glory is so good from his feet. But man, it's crazy. He's an excellent neutral wrestler with a lot of attacks and a lot of ways to score.
D'Angelo pushed Lugo to tiebreakers where Lugo got
You could say Lugo really pushed
That's
D'Angelo.
true. There was one of those out of bounds stall calls.
It's,
And we watched it this morning.
it was mint.
Mint.
Man,
Lugo gets an underhook right off a restart, walks D'Angelo straight back to the edge, and then D'Angelo tries to circle back in and does so all the way around to the other side of the mat when they finally go out of bounds. Stall call Lugo.
classic. It was
What would count? 16 shuffles?
16 shuffles.
Yes.
They weren't even the Cupid variety, which we saw that last night as well at the holiday offsite. Yeah, it was one of the finest moments in the push out stall era, in my opinion. But yeah, Lugo got it done. Really, really close match though. And then go up to 57, where one of the biggest upsets of the weekend, Young goes down to Quincy Monday.
It was a takedown in like the first 30 seconds that decided it.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those flash takedowns, and Monday got like 2 seconds of riding time, and Young was out. And then Monday got in on a kind of like a little DeSanto like fireman's carry, and Young almost countered that later in the first period. But other than that,
Young wasn't that close.
no, he wasn't.
Monday is another one, too, who in high school there was potential and you saw it, but there wasn't a great deal of results. And then as a senior, he really came on. And so you wonder if that's just kind of that's just him a little bit where, maybe he needs a year in the program to get himself going, and then he can take off.
Yeah, and I'm not sure he's taking off. He lost to Jesse Della Vecchia this year already, which to me says he's not jumped significant levels, and he was in a match with Caleb Young. I think he matches up pretty well with Young, even though he lost to him.
A headlock away from losing to Josh Humphreys.
Right. So I'm not sure I'm not sure where he is at 57. He beat Caleb Young, and that says a lot. That guy was the consensus preseason number 2, but he's since lost to Carr, and now Monday. Is Caleb Young vulnerable against the Sons of Legends?
Wow.
I think we have to say yes.
What other? All right,
Wyatt Sheets.
Oh no.
Yeah, Wyatt Sheets.
Man, this could get interesting. If he loses to Wyatt Sheets, then it really is like the legendary father component. Because Wyatt Sheets is kind of still figuring it out a little
Son
bit.
of Mike Sheets, if you don't know.
Oklahoma State
Two-time
legend.
NCAA champion.
Pretty sure he was like, everyone's like, he was like one of the best refs too.
Oh, really?
He was like an NCAA official, I think. Everyone's like, oh, he was great, but he's like not anymore. Also, so was Derek Fix. Did you guys know that?
No, I had no idea.
Derek
I
was like,
didn't know that until kind of recently.
I was like, what? I was like, well, one, why are you not doing it anymore? We could definitely use.
Excellent officials.
I want Mike Sheets and Derek Fix to be officiating matches so badly. They ain't calling that edge rule.
Maybe because
all
their
crazy.
kids are wrestling in college, and it would be conflicting.
Listen,
interests.
big idea. They don't officiate those matches. But if I'm in the officials association, I'm like, we can make this work, guys. We can figure it out. You do the ACC stuff or whatever. I guess Derek's pretty busy with the whole
RTC coach thing.
RTC coach thing, but at the same time,
Well-rounded.
I'm just saying. Well, maybe the time will come. Dayton will graduate and he'll move on, and it'll be time. Derek is still in his prime for
Oh,
officiating.
Derek's still young enough to officiate. No question.
There's some white-haired officials off, and they're some of the best, seasoned. Okay, little official talk. Sometimes we talk about refs.
Trying to think anything
part of the
else in that duel.
Well, weren't there 3 upsets? So Warner, Young.
Oh, Nelson Brands.
No, yes.
And just Stefanik.
This is the
Really
stickiness.
Nelson
We're back to the stickiness, guys.
Yeah.
The Iowa guys not super sticky. They're not gonna hang at those spots. We thought Nelson was very volatile. He lost to a good Travis Stefanik, but, not as sticky. Caleb Young, not as sticky, right? And Lugo, right there with D'Angelo. So the stickiness is kind of rearing itself.
Yeah, expect some volatility. It's and then we heard from some Iowa fans about Paris passing Cassiope at 285.
Yes, this is the perfect transition.
I
So,
sympathize
transition
with
wrestling.
everybody that
respect.
wants
Skew
their
respect.
team to be ranked high, and but we try to call it like we see it. We look at the resumes. Mason Paris did not have that signature win yet. He avenged thrice the Matt Stencil loss, so he passes Matt Stencil, but he hadn't beat anybody at the next level. Then he takes out Hall, wins CKLV, and now you have 4 wins against All-Americans this year against Cassiope, who has the win against Hilger, who is 1 All-American. Mason Paris did enough at CKLV to pass him, and that's what happened at 285.
Cassiope this year, his wins are Grayson Walthall, Gannon Gremmel, Trent Hilger, Aiden Connor.
Yeah, and Gremmel is a good win. He's going to be ranked the whole year. But when you just compare A versus B, and Cassiope does not have a long history. He had a good redshirt year, but nothing spectacular. I don't think he beat any All-Americans last year. And Mason Paris did have a pretty good season last year as a true freshman.
I think it's fair. I mean, I think third preseason or third at this point in the season is
it's quite
is
fair.
reasonable for Cassiope. And
Absolutely.
you know what? They're in the same conference. They'll probably duel. And
February 8th.
I bet whoever wins that match will earn the higher ranking at that point.
Yeah.
That's my Tuesday headline for that.
There's
that.
another.
84 we got to talk about.
Well, there's an Iowa fan mad that Kimmer is behind Cutler on Facebook right now.
I mean, that's because I think,
Kemmer has
Probably because Kemmer didn't wrestle last year.
I know.
and never wrestled at 74 until this year. So you got to give the benefit of the doubt to Cutler until Kemmer.
and Cutler is probably has been as good, if not better, at 74 than he was at 57.
Yeah.
But also, I'll say, I think Kemmer's probably the second best guy. So I understand if I'm an Iowa fan, I'm like, yeah, I like our guy.
Sure. If you were setting Vegas odds, if you said let's handicap like a neutral match between Cutler and Kemmer at NCAAs, maybe the money's on Kemmer. And that's probably what would happen, by some margin. Not a huge one. But that's not rankings.
Yeah.
That's Vegas. That's predictions.
I do want to know, Spay, how you could just callously disregard a Big Ten win by Nick Lee over Mitch McKee.
Yeah.
Oh,
You just threw out
This
this
is
Big
not
Ten
good.
result.
Nick Lee, in fact, did beat Mitch McKee at Big Tens. However, after that, he lost to Dom Demas at NCAAs. Yep. So if we count the Big Tens, how are we going to ignore NCAAs? If that's the thing, is that we have to go back to Big Tens. Either you ignore Big Tens or you ignore NCAAs. And I chose not to ignore NCAAs. Mitch McKee over Dom Demas over Nick Lee. That's how it goes. 2, 3, 4.
That was a setup, by the way.
Cold setup.
For Spay, because that was a terrible argument by the Penn State fans.
I understand where the Penn State fans are coming from. They're
No, I
looking
don't.
at what happened. Well, they're looking at
NCAAs is more recent than Big Ten's.
Yeah, but
Deal
they're
with
looking
it.
at their guy, and they go, it doesn't compute to them that Nick Lee is below Mitch McKee, when in their minds, Nick Lee is obviously better than Mitch McKee, and he proved it, but that was last year. Based on these rankings this year, we have over a month, we have a CKLV, and Nick Lee, unfortunately, no fault of his own, is not going to see either of these guys until November. Or February, I should say.
Yeah.
It is November. He's not. And Mitch McKee, he's got a really tough back end. We looked at that yesterday. In a row, he's going to see Pletcher, McKee, Chad Redd, Max Murin, and Tristan Moran, all guys in the top 10.
But also rankings don't matter.
Also that, yeah. But thank you for reading.
But we do want to skewer you about 184.
Yeah, you have to be skewered.
184, I knew that was coming.
You have disrespected the Floyd County Christiansburg Cowboy, Hunter Bolin. And I'll say for the last time.
For the last time, honestly.
Thank you for assigning a personal vendetta
so
onto that.
He
a
splits,
motivation.
He splits against Lujan, winning the last one.
Recent result
And
trumps.
Lujan beats Vince twice, and Bolin outplaces Vince.
Yet he's
Bolin
behind.
should be ahead of Vince.
I brought
Guys.
this up to him yesterday.
Yeah, look, here is the thing. I screwed up.
Dang it, Spay.
I was waiting on it. I was waiting on your.
I was like, oh,
your
snap.
rebuttal. Yeah.
I have a serious explanation for this, and it is I ran out of time and I missed that fact. And I betrayed my own reasoning. I used Venz, and I think in my mind I looked at it and I went, Venz is a former All-American, but that was 2 years ago. So that makes sense. Bolin is yet to AA or whatever. But
Bolin's a former VHSL state champion.
Whoa,
and
okay.
you don't even factor that in.
I did, yeah.
And there are not, believe me, there are not many VHSL state champions.
I did, in my fairness, forget that fact.
It's funny because you actually made it harder on yourself because with Nelson losing and Shakur coming out, you could have just done the top 6 in order from CKLV, and then you would have had some because Darmstadt, Embry, Colbray. Then there could have been some stuff there. But
there's a
you
lot
could
of
have just
things
went
I
the top
should have
6 in
done,
order, and everyone would have been fine with it.
Let's just say I've had some regrets in my life.
We got a question about how we could rank Seabass third at 133.
Is that too high or too low in their mind?
It was too high, I believe,
Okay.
in their mind with what they were asking. They didn't understand how he could be ahead of RBY. But
Well, he beat
2 wins over
He
Spencer
beat
Lee.
Spencer Lee twice.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good resume. I mean, if you look at Sebastian Rivera's record last year, pretty dang good. And RBY is the same thing with a lot of the Penn State guys. They didn't hit a lot of guys. They don't have as full of a calendar of matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it, but he doesn't hit the guys. He could be better. He could be head-to-head, and all that matters is March and NCAAs. I totally get all that, but if we're doing rankings based on results, which we are, it is what it is.
Sebastian's only losses last year were Jack Mueller
And Micic.
and Micic.
Pretty decent.
Yeah, not bad. So I think it's
Anything else?
Yeah, he was the number 1 seed going into NCAAs, right?
He was undefeated.
Yeah, he was an undefeated Big Ten champion with 2 wins over Spencer. He's very clearly, I think, should be ahead of.
Yeah. RBY got a lot of talent and did really well for true freshmen, but
Result-wise.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where people think, well, RBY is going to be better or whatever, but man,
Well,
Seabass.
we're doing a good job of segueing. Let's go to Penn State, where some stuff's happening, right? Aaron Brooks comes out of redshirt.
Yeah.
Did not know that was coming. That was a surprise to me. I figured, Shakur was coming back. So it's one of 2 things this means. It either means Shakur is very hurt and not recovering well and will not be maybe back or able to wrestle on the level, and they need points at 84, or Shakur's going up. They need Brooks's points. They feel like this is what they have to do in order to challenge Iowa. I do think it's a necessary chess move. I think Brooks is fantastic. I think we all were saying, hey, if there's a next transcendent major point scorer, probably going to be Aaron Brooks.
I think we even got an FRL question about that, and we said him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've been super high on Brooks. I'm sure he's doing great in the room. I had also heard, though, another reason I didn't think this was coming was he was hurt at Junior Worlds.
Yep.
And I was like, yeah, this year is going to be kind of like redshirt, recover, and get ready for next year and get healthy, et cetera, but looked very healthy to me. Two good wins. He beat Weiler, and then I think it was just a decision win against Penn. But
Nope.
major?
I'm pretty sure he got a tech fall.
All right. Memory is slowly fading. But he's looked great, really good, but I don't know what it means yet.
19-4 tech fall.
All right.
Some call those big decisions.
That's a big decision. It's still a decision. It was like 3 decisions.
And he'll have good chances to climb up the rankings here. They go to Scuffle, which it looks like, according to Southern Scuffle Twitter account, NC State's sending a full team.
Okay.
He gets Vince. He'll have Nelson Brands.
Wait, do you think Penn State doesn't go to the Scuffle this year, though?
Oh, gosh.
Oh.
Dang it. I'm so used to them just going every year.
Yep.
Do we wonder if they're Nomad has hypothesized maybe they'll send some guys.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem like something they would do, though.
It does, or it doesn't, I guess. Right. Screwed that up. But this is a weird year for them. And because you talked about this the other day, when Mark Hall's red shirt got pulled, even though it came in, late January, mid-January, it still always seemed like the plan. Whereas with this, you go back to media day, Kale says, Shakur is going to be fine. He's coming off ACL, obviously, so he's going to be long slowly, but he's going to be fine, so we're going to redshirt Brooks. And my understanding from talking to, Brooks people is they wanted him to redshirt, focus on freestyle this year. So everybody seemed hunky-dory.
Yeah. And he is going to the Olympic trials qualifier, apparently, right?
Yeah, he is going to Fort Worth.
So no scuffle.
So not likely scuffle.
Yeah.
But, it's only a couple. It's like you'd have 10 days to recover from a freestyle tournament. Yeah. So we'll see what they do with Brooks, what they do with Shakur. I haven't heard anything, but Connell hasn't shown many signs that he's going to get a lot better, but still December.
There was a question of how long is Connell going to stay in the rankings, and I think he's like 20th or something like that. And he's got just enough slack to stay in there for now, but another loss, and he's going out. But he still has those wins in his record and his resume, and there's really not anybody in that 20 to 25 area that's got.
Yeah, the 20 to 25 range of rankings.
What would be nice is. I know everyone's got different ideas of how rankings should go and whatever. We do it results because that's the only way to stay sane and actually have anything that makes any sense. But it would be fun to at one point just do like 1 to 12 or 15 and then just list as many honorable mentions that like had good weeks or good whatever and just say you're all in the zone. You're all in that qualifier area. And let's just move on. Don't worry about if some guy's 21 and you're 23 or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else to discuss with Penn State? Not really.
Brandon Meredith beat
Oh, yeah.
Kolyoko.
So is that maybe, to
He's
me,
close
that's
to
a
getting
signal, right? Maybe he's going to be their guy. They've been going with Teskey.
And the last result for Teskey was the loss to Major, lost by Major to Brandon Courtney.
Mm-hmm. Major good.
Who Brandon Courtney, I don't believe placed at CKLV or placed low.
I don't think so.
So not exactly someone who right now has looked to be All-American threat.
He got pinned by Schrodo Baggins, as I am now calling him. Are y'all cool with that?
Nope.
Devin Schroeder can't be Schrodo Baggins?
Schroeder.
Come on. I have a lot of good nicknames. Some, they're not all great, but I think that's a pretty good one. He has kind of curly hair. He's small.
He is a hobbit.
He is a hobbit. He's a mythological creature.
Loves rings with magical powers.
Yeah, don't they eat a lot? He's probably hungry because he's a 25-pounder. I don't know. Just go with it. Schrodo Baggins.
Yeah.
You come up with a better one for Schroeder.
Nope, the Schroeder Baggins is the top.
All right,
No way to
thank
top
you.
it.
Thank you.
Brandon Meredith this year, I mean, it's more of the same. Like, whoever they go with, 125 is an area where Penn State may have trouble qualifying. He's got losses this year to Logan Heil, Drew Hildebrandt, Jack Medley, and he got majored by Patel.
It's like Alabama and a kicker. Just refuse to have one.
It just can't happen. It just can't happen, despite their best efforts, I think.
Brandon Patel had one of the most random tweets. I quote tweet something about Pletcher, like, have more pop in him, not cutting weight, and Patel went something like, cut more weight means more Patel power, baby. I was like, what?
I like that. Patel power.
Patel power, yeah,
Patel power.
That's good.
That's good. It's yeah.
Schroeder Baggins not so
Schroeder
good.
Baggins not good.
I'll tell you one thing. If he ever made it to number one in the rankings, Spey probably would have used a similar.
That's like a
rankings
good pun for the rankings. That's not a good
Not like an actual
nickname.
nickname.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, they're one and the same to me.
Here, cutting more weight equals stronger Paisy. Hashtag power, all caps.
Stronger Paisy.
Paisy power. Okay. So that's Penn State. Want to get to some questions from friends?
No. I want to.
No.
No.
I'm out on cues from Ed.
No, I would like to cover Alon's real quick because
Okay.
we had a lot of very good wrestlers there.
You should probably talk about Russia real
That's
quick,
what I
too.
was thinking.
Okay.
That's what I want to talk about.
Also Russia. So, okay, so I'll just start with Alon's because it can be quick.
It's pronounced Allen's.
Pronounce like a wrench.
Snyderman wins, beats Bitsayev in the finals, so
That's a good one.
looks good there. He also smashed Houston, so that was
Houston
nice.
and Betsayev are solid dudes. So at 97, both of them, well, you have Sadalayev, obviously, but Betsayev is a very good number 2 for any country.
Yes. Greasy looked really good. Lost to Sabalov. He was winning late and then kind of got laced. Gave up a few points there. Lost 7-4 in the finals. So James Green, we prefer him at 74 much more than we prefer him at 65.
Absolutely.
just not the same James Green. Gilman and Rutherford and Gwiz had a few frustrating losses in a row. Of course, it's only December, but just kind of the way they're losing is was a little frustrating for me. But that's why they go to those tournaments, so they can correct those things and get reps.
Yeah, you mentioned closing out matches is tough, and that's something that we saw in Kazakhstan, and it's kind of carried over. What's that?
For who?
Just Team USA.
Oh,
The three losses that Gwiz got 10-0'd, right, by...
Well, I'm talking about the Kazaev match. So Gilman, he lost to
and Zane, though.
a Russian by the name of Mutaliev. His only point was on shot clock. He was in on a really good shot, and the guy was trying to kick out, and he chased a little too hard, ended up in a scramble, gave up points there. So unfortunately, he couldn't get anything offensive going. Zane, there was stoppage 7.2 left, and he gave up takedown and exposure there at the end. And then Gwiz, it was 1-0, and then they got an exchange, and he gave up a 4 into a gut wrench, and that was in like the final minute. So they were all in the balance in the final minute, and unfortunately the Team USA guys lost. So frustrated because it's our ones, and they're going into Russia, and it's a big important tournament that a lot of guys take seriously, as opposed to some of the other tournaments where you can clearly tell they're more. The foreigners are more just like prepping for Worlds. But, again, it's December, so they got tape, they got stuff to work on.
Okay. Now, speaking of Russia, they're the global leaders in cheating. For
worldwide leaders.
Back to back to back. I'm not sure how many
For
back to backs.
forever years?
For how many years has Russia existed? They probably have been trying to cheat in sports. So... it sounds like maybe they will not be at the Olympics, at least under the Russian flag. They could, if these guys can somehow prove they're clean.
Yes,
they'll be able to do that. To me, that means we'll see a full Russian team. Their number ones will all be there. You're shaking your head no.
No, I'm shaking my head no at everybody who's like they're completely misunderstand everything about this.
Okay.
And nothing will change wrestling-wise. None of the results from Kazakhstan will be disqualified. The winners of Russian Nationals, the winners of Russian Nationals will go, maybe if they'll take some guys out like Sidikov and all, but the winners of Russian Nationals will go. They'll compete under the white flag, green flag, who knows,
it's
whatever the
neutral athletes, something NA.
What kind of singlets are they going to wear?
I bet they're going to be white with the Olympic rings on them. Is my guess. But wrestling-wise, basically no change.
Well, and the thing that people are missing, I think, when they say it's not a punishment or it's a skate and by is it was a state-sponsored doping program. So they want to punish...
Shout out Gregory.
Shout out Gregory.
So they want to punish the state, and if an athlete is clean, if they resisted somehow the state telling them or the Ministry of Sport or whoever... forcing these steroids on these guys, and then they can prove they're clean, and they don't go through the Russian anti-doping agency. They go through a regular one, and they get regular tested. You don't want to punish those athletes, and you don't want to have an Olympics where the best people aren't there, even though they can prove that they're clean. So it's just like 84 and 80 Olympics. Nobody likes those asterisks next to them. Nobody wants a diminished Olympics, and it's the state, and it's the country, and it's the federation that's going to bear the brunt of this punishment rather than the athletes. And I think that's a good thing.
Well, I think the athletes that bear the brunt of it are everyone but the Russians.
When they were not being punished, yes, I agree. They created an unfair balance. But if the athletes themselves can go through real testing, just like American athletes, then I don't see what the issue is now going forward.
Well, the real thing that you were saying of how it's going to affect them is what you're saying with the the administration, like. Russia won't get funding from the IOC,
and the WADA said that you cannot, or the WADA ruling, how it goes is if you're a major sporting organization, you cannot host events. So that means Russia already paid UWW, already set it all up. They want to host Krasnoyarsk in 2022. That's out. That's a serious blow. That's like, can you imagine if the U.S. was going to host World Championships and then we did all that stuff, organization, all the planning,
several $1 million,
and then. They just said, nope, you guys are out of that. I think that's a big deal. And then, the money from the Olympics is huge. It's how most of these countries get their funding for their athletes.
But here's the thing: the sport is wrestling matches.
Yes.
Right. That's the whole sport. You can talk about the money and the politics and that. Sure, Russia gets harmed, but who cares? It's like Jordan Burroughs and Dake and those guys. They'll have to wrestle Russians. And to me, the only real punishment is them not competing. That is the punishment.
But if the
is not
Russians
gonna
can prove they're clean now, do you still
How
want
can you prove that? I mean,
the same way the Americans are. They got to go through the same
listen,
testing.
Taimazov. How many times did Taimazov prove he was clean?
But they're not going through Russia anti-doping anymore. They're going through WADA, World Anti-Doping.
They were tested then.
But it was the fox guarding the hen house. They had to go through Russian testing. They had Russians. The Russian Rusada was helping them cheat. Was the whole problem.
They tested Taimazov at the Olympic Games.
Well, then,
and he was tested clean because the tests are behind the cheaters.
But you're all right. So, I mean, that's Uzbekistan, and that is then nobody can wrestle anymore. I mean, anybody that's
you have a track record of a country that it doesn't have. It's not like Nike Oregon Project in running where you just have this team that cheats and cheats and cheats. It is the country. It is part of being on the team. Is that you subscribe to these things?
But then all ex-Soviet, Azerbaijan has testing problems. Uzbekistan has serious testing problems too.
I'm sure that they do.
So they're all out. We don't have world championships with them.
Well,
anymore?
I don't think it's been proven at the scale that it has with Russia.
They were all involved. If you look at the Rodchenko stuff that came out, most of the ex-Soviet countries were all paying Rodchenkov.
Well, I'm happy to have any and all of the implicated nations out. That's fine with me.
All right, don't have the Olympics. Fine with me too.
Well, no, not don't have the Olympics. Have clean Olympics. I think it's been tainted. It's
and
been
that's
tainted
what they're
many years.
trying to
Tervel
do.
Delagnev finds out he's a medalist 7-8 years. It's a joke. Get him out. It's known, right? And Burroughs said the same thing. He's like, I don't want these guys in there. And
but how are we going to prove that that those guys now are cheating? The new guy, the current generation of Russians.
I don't know. You've seen the NCAA sports. Teams get the death penalty. Yeah. What do those recruits have to do with the thing that happened? I don't. Nothing. But you know what? There's got to be a lesson. And I think the ultimate lesson is that you don't get to go. I think that's the way to.
Sidikov's out. It has nothing to do with him.
Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't.
Okay. I'm not going there, but that's where we.
Yeah, I'm sure many won't. But that's where I'm at. That's where I've been with these guys for a long time.
Yeah, it's not like it's just a few individuals. Like this is like CP was saying, this is part of their Olympic program. This is like, wasn't the rumor with Kudakov that he didn't want to do it?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to be involved in that, and that
I'm
they
very
were
woke on that.
They were going he was going to blow the whistle on it, and he didn't want to be a part of it. And because of that, they made it look like he died in a car crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very woke on that responsibility.
So I don't know, man. That's where I'm at with Russia, with the cheating. I think that there's other aspects of the sport where they've been, they've hurt the sport, and I just don't have any sympathy for Russia. Period. And I don't think there's an asterisk to an Olympic title that doesn't have Russians in there. I don't. I think every 4 years.
I mean, whether you put the asterisks or not, they're not there.
Yeah.
Sadalaev's not there. Sidikov's not there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same.
I have a very hard time seeing anything coming out of this in terms of the current generation of Russian wrestlers not being able to compete at the Olympics. Now, if they all want to go through WADA testing, then great. I'm still pretty convinced they're going to be the best team.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt.
Without steroids.
Maybe. I mean, there's no way to know what they are or aren't on, and passing a test does not mean you're clean. We all know that.
But I mean, that goes back to what's the plan for going forward?
No, I'm just saying if they lose that the reasonable doubt thing.
Sure, but what are we going to do? Just never have Russia in an event anymore? How are you? What's the plan to make sure that they're clean? I don't know. There is one.
I don't know.
So that we don't have international competition.
They were given a very clear path to redemption.
Of course.
And all they did was continue to double down on the exact same way they were cheating.
100%.
Okay.
Their federation is scummy or not the federation specifically, but I mean like Russia, Minister of Sport, all the way to the top to Putin. What's the plan going forward to have any kind of international competition then?
Maybe they're not involved. Maybe Russia, you're out.
And Uzbekistan, Azerbaijan, anybody else, ex-Soviet countries, they don't.
Maybe if you can prove to the level that we are able to prove Russia cheats, sure. If that's able to be done, then yeah, absolutely.
To CP's point, so WADA basically followed to a T the recommendation from the CRC. I don't know that acronym, but anyway, it's 26 pages, and I'm gonna read it tomorrow on the plane. But like to CP's point,
He said he was gonna read it now.
no. Yeah. Short reading.
I'm going to read it.
Buckle up,
Take a
guys.
bathroom break.
Section 1A2.
But just like this one thing, they talk about, so everything happened with Rodchenkov, 2016-17, but then they're saying, however, further significant deletions and or alterations were made in December 2018, January 2019 by the Moscow laboratory.
Yeah,
so
they were supposed to
after
turn
all the
over a bunch
Rodchenkov
of information,
stuff,
and
yeah.
what they did was they doctored it so that you couldn't find out that the people from in the past were all cheating. I'm just saying, going forward, wipe them out, like keep Russia from the Olympics, whatever. But the athletes now, Sadalayev, Sidikov, anybody else, Rashidov, what do we do going forward with
They
them?
were all athletes then, too.
I know, but what do we do now with them? They were state-sponsored programs. Now we just say ban for life?
I don't know. There should be something. There should be, at least for a period of time until Russia actually does the things that WADA says they have to do. They should be out. They had a very clear and simple path.
I think also part of the problem is like many things that have I don't know if shadowy is the right word, but like WADA has very little power. They have very few employees. They have very little power.
That is the thing. There were WADA employees that I retweeted one of them that said they should take CP's plan and say Russia is completely banned forever, all the athletes, not forever, but whatever, and just said like this
Until
is it. They
start
follow the
following
rules,
all the
no,
rules.
and then WADA, because the IOC does want Russian athletes and whatever in or whatever, they said the only thing is kind of what they did for the Winter Olympics, where you compete as neutral or do nothing. So you only had those two choices. You didn't have the all athlete ban.
Yeah, I guess why I don't really see much changing ever is because I feel like WADA's hands are tied unless they get like $1 trillion
Start a GoFundMe.
like $1 trillion
That's
go
a good
in
idea.
and they become the act like then like WADA becomes the IOC.
How many trillions?
I think just
Just
one?
the one?
I think just
one
quad-
Just the 1 trillion?
yeah, just quad commas will do it.
You want to see?
Trace commas to quad commas.
Well, let's mess up some commas and get WADA some money.
Yeah.
Let's re-billionize WADA.
Yeah. So that's my.
Right now they have $0 billion.
$0
If
billion.
you round down, they have $0 billions. It's true.
We have a lot in common with WADA then, WADA and I. So yeah, that's my thing. It's like, I don't know. There's plenty of examples of teams. It's like, all right, yeah, there's collateral damage. That maybe there are some clean guys, but you know what? The country, you lose all your. I mean, you won't follow any of the rules. Listen, 2016 they should have been out. They weren't out. They said, but okay, we'll let you in, but you have to do these things. They did none of them. They're not doing any of them.
No, they
how
did
can you
more
just
crimes after they told them to stop
Yes!
doing crimes.
Yeah, they're like, oh, you're so cute. We will not listen.
The whole summer of 2016 and the summer of '69. The whole summer of 2016
Nicest of all the summers.
was
2016,
so nice. Was so fascinating between the Meldonium, between Russia, between Yadav and Sushil Kumar and their whole
Oh, that was a
powder.
That was a saga.
Yeah,
Classic poisoning to make the team.
that was a whole
really did, didn't he?
fascinating thing.
I think
yes.
he did.
That is
At a
incredible.
camp.
Everyone was like, "There's no way he poisoned him." And then they like came out. I was like, "I actually did."
He poisoned
He
him.
paid off a cook at a camp.
That is incredible.
You just love to see that competitive fire spreading.
That is something that would happen in college football, and I'm like shocked it hasn't.
If you ain't
Yeah.
cheating, you ain't trying.
Just like
Like-
poisoning the cook or
Or
having the cook.
like spiking like a star quarterback like Joe Burrow's water so he'd test positive for like
Oh.
HGH or something like that.
If you ain't poisoning, you ain't trying. It's what my coach said. Every year. Sat us down.
Okay. So I'm sure. So Russia has 3 weeks to appeal. I'm sure they will just accept the findings and move on, knowing Russia.
So
This might be the time they learn their lesson. Let's give them
This will be.
that
Yeah, this will
opportunity.
definitely be the time. No, you know what? It reminds me of Breaking Bad, where Mike Armentrout is talking about half measures. So this is another half measure. 2016 was a half measure. The neutral flag is a half measure. This requires a full measure.
Dump it.
Dump it.
Shut it down.
Later, Russia. And yeah, you want to throw in Uzbekistan? Fine. Get them all out if necessary. If we can prove to the level of the Russian treachery.
So all of that, CB was talking about the 21 days thing, the 3 weeks thing. So apparently RUSADA was notified on December 5th, so they have until December 26th.
Like what?
So day after Christmas.
What do we do?
What? Then
It's going to go to the court of arbitration.
Then it
sport.
goes to court of arbitration for sport.
Man.
At which point, all hell will break loose. I have no idea what will happen. It will probably not be resolved by, let's see, wrestling is August 2nd through the 8th. Well, maybe it will be resolved by then.
We should have some
Well,
like
what?
international trials or something.
Yeah, can we send a correspondent?
I think
yeah,
no man,
I've been to
regardless
Nuremberg
of
before.
anybody's
so.
opinion, what will happen is just like Winter Olympics.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said regardless of any of the
yeah.
opinion, it's going to happen just like Winter Olympics.
Yeah.
It will be no Russian Federation, no flag, no uniform stuff, but individual athletes that go through regular testing will be able to compete under neutral flag. I mean,
Now,
I will bet
here's-
a lot of money that's what happens.
Here's the other thing. Everyone was making jokes like Sedge Lives enter the transfer portal. I don't see any of these guys transferring because under current UWW rules, Russia can hard block anyone from competing for like 2 or 3 years.
Especially, it's like medalists also have more restrictions.
And also, the Olympics have a separate path if you want to transfer in an Olympic year.
Yeah. Well, also,
So-
Russia's going to still keep them. I mean, like, they're going to pay to have them be Russian athletes still. I mean, they're going to keep them on the payroll.
Right. I'm just saying, I doubt this causes any Russians to.
Leave.
To transfer, yeah.
All right.
Some may just leave because they're already playing on leave, like Beck Bulletov, right? But otherwise, I don't
Right.
see this affecting anything.
Let's go to questions from friends.
Q's from F's.
Mike Honcho.
From F's.
Why don't all wrestlers shake opposing hands after matches? Because they don't have to.
We shake hands a lot in this sport.
Also, you do it in a dual meet. You do it at the very end of the dual meet. You shake everybody's hand.
Everyone's hand.
You don't need to.
Do you
Also,
guys like how
sometimes
in international, because you're supposed to shake the ref's hand first, that a lot of the Americans go to shake the international guy's hand, and they're like, they don't get a reciprocated hand, and then the ref has to do the whole do-si-do thing, and then they shake?
There's not actually. I'm pretty sure there's not actually a post match handshake requirement of the.
I don't know if it's
competing
required,
athletes.
but the ref ends up
Yes.
shoving them into each other, and then you pat on the back or
Yes,
something.
they often frequently go like that, and I just smack the crap out of my mic.
Punch the mic.
You just try to hit the wall.
Chill out, dude. Yeah, I don't know. At Buffalo Gap, you shake hands after every single match.
Yeah, we did it in high school too, but
I
in
know
college I don't
Parkersburg.
think
Nope.
it's. I don't think in college it's necessary.
No, that's not necessary in high school either, especially in a duel.
I don't think it's
Sometimes
necessary.
that noise.
I don't think
It's
it's
you.
necessary
It's
in
your
high
slack.
school.
Me?
Yeah.
Wow, great radio.
My bad.
We have slack, not to flex.
It's a perk of working here.
Yeah.
Along with perpetual time off.
Oh my gosh. When are we? All right, Paul Jacobson. When are we gonna get farm bets again? Okay. The key part of farm bets, I have to acquire a farm. I'm working on that today. I'm working on a land transfer. So hopefully tomorrow I'll have a farm in my name that I can wager for this weekend. Except it'll be kind of hard because there's not.
Maybe you should focus them on schools that are land grant schools.
Okay. I don't have that list handy, but you know what? Maybe we'll see.
I bet these two guys could get it for you.
All right.
Spay and Bray.
We have an Alirez question here. He doesn't need to get his eligibility back because he's going to wrestle this week at the Reno Tournament of Champions.
Oh.
Yeah,
heyo.
it sounded like that was not a long-term injury.
Yes, so he'll be back.
Nice.
Bear down 85. Hotter take. Hawks will not give up more than 10 points in a duel, or Hawks will win NCAAs by more than 20. That's a hotter take. That
Yes.
they would win by more than 20.
They almost They just give them 9 to Princeton.
Yeah. Well, that would make the hotter take, because the heat of the take is how insane.
All right, what is
it
more likely? Penn State scores fewer than 10 against them in the duel, or they beat Penn State by greater than 20 in NCAAs?
Which is more likely?
More likely is that
Penn State scores 10
Penn
points.
State scores more than 10.
Yeah.
Somewhat-
Yeah, the NCAA
Because
one is the hotter
NCAAs,
one.
NCAAs could go haywire.
They could lose NCAAs
Yeah.
very easily. That's
Like,
why
they could lose duels.
Right.
No,
I know.
I'm saying
I think
there's-
the NCAA one is hotter.
I do too.
Yeah.
Okay. For great radio, could Nomad read all the
I disagree
entrants
with that.
for the senior nationals, weight class named in hometown? No, he cannot. Yes, he could. One time, I forget what it was, he read an entire list really
I did
fast.
too.
It was pretty funny, though.
Oh, what was that? I did it. Yeah.
It was an entry list. It was really long. But
Just let them do it.
no, it would take forever.
Just let them do the men's freestyle ones. Do it.
Let
Let them do it. Let them do it.
Oh, let me see how many are in there.
There's only 111.
No!
Yeah, one page. Do one page.
It is just one page.
Oh, okay.
No.
Do it all.
No.
Just
no.
how about names? How about just names?
No.
It's not sorted.
Oh, you guys suck.
Deeringer just registered. Carson Kartzler registered.
All right, we got 2 down.
Okay.
109 to go.
No.
Keep going. Keep going.
He wants weight class named
I know.
in
I
hometown.
said just name.
That's cool. All the Titan Mercury guys registered.
Have
which was
Soriano
nice.
or Spencer Lee registered?
No,
They're going to
incorrect.
register like they're going to walk in and wrestle.
Are walk-ins allowed?
Nor has
Probably.
oh
For them, yeah.
Yondog registered. I think we knew that already.
Yes. Well, we didn't know he registered, but
Also, that his name was Yon Dog.
that is
When I
that
was
I
a-
also didn't know.
When I was a kid, you couldn't. A lot of tournaments you couldn't register for online. You had to call in.
What? Really?
Yeah.
I think that's how some
hotline.
teams still think they exist, how they work.
A little trip down memory lane.
I remember when you used to the youth tournaments. You used to show up in the morning, and they'd be like, "You walk in or call in," and then like, because if you were already registered, you already had your paperwork and everything, and you just went back and waited in.
That's still how some teams operate.
Legit. Is this going to be the most exciting Olympic trials in U.S. history to date? Ask Bailey Brown at Dan's Britafilter. I think
It
so.
will certainly be the best one I've ever attended.
Wow.
Wow.
First one. So I think, yeah, especially if Jaden's not going up. But if he did, it'd be so epic because we know 86 is going to be epic regardless. But no, Bo Nickel might go up to 97. That would make, we could have a little Nittany Lion on Nittany Lion crime there.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be interesting. It is going, yes, without question, it's going to be the most epic Olympic trials ever.
I wish we had the show yesterday because I had a whole bunch of things ready for Gordon Bo Nickel, but we don't have enough time for them.
No, we don't. But that happened. It was it was weird. But, yeah. All right. I think it's time. I think we can go.
That's probably good. Yeah.
It's taco time.
It is taco time.
I tried to hit up Sears.
Sears is on
and
a plane.
asked him to get us tacos. And he's
Selfish
on a plane in
Sears.
California. But he did tell me a funny story that while I was out on paternity leave, he tried to get you guys tacos and was just like walking away with the whole bag, and some lady yelled at him.
I wonder who.
I said, "Who?" And he said, "I don't know names."
Yeah, Sears hasn't learned everybody in the office yet.
Man.
He said there were multiple times last night where I saw people on the stage together who I had always thought were the same person.
Spider-Man meme.
That's funny. Michael Sears, the gem. You guys are gems. We thank you so much for listening. Feel free, Caleb, to play us out.
Spay and I won't be here tomorrow. We're on our way to Walsh Jesuit Ironman, the toughest in-season high school tournament in the country.
Mike's going to Reno.
Shout out.
Mike's going to Reno, so
The
it'll
Andrew
be
Lear's open.
Bracky, CP, and Bray tomorrow. Also this weekend, that guy Michael Sears was talking about, he's going to IBJJF No-Gi Worlds. So if you're into that kind of thing, wrestling fans, which turns out a lot of you are.
Yeah, you are. Whether you want to admit it or not. So, thanks so much for listening. 437. We'll be back tomorrow with 438. I don't have anything else to say other than thank you. See you then.